We live in an era drowning in advice. From endless podcasts to quick-fix social media gurus, everyone is selling a shortcut to success, and the noise is deafening. The opening chapters of the biblical Book of Proverbs cut through that static. They propose a different view. Life isn't a random series of events happening to you, but a deliberate journey that requires active navigation. At the center of this text is a recurring protagonist. Imagine an unformed student standing at a definitive fork in the road, staring down two completely different paths. Proverbs is an ancient survival guide written for that exact moment. It teaches us how to identify the right path, especially when the wrong one looks incredibly appealing. Down one path stands a character the text calls Lady Folly. She's loud, seductive, and promises immediate gratification. She tells the student that corners can be cut and consequences avoided, but her path dead ends in chaos and ruin.
Pacing slows slightly. Lady Wisdom is no mere mortal advisor. The text describes her as an essential part of God's own being, a witness and participant who was there when the foundations of the earth were marked out and the chaos was carved into a functioning world. But she isn't hiding in some inaccessible, mystical temple. Lady Wisdom stands in the busy city gates and crowded public squares, calling out to everyone, offering a life anchored in justice and order. Engaging with biblical wisdom means realizing that right choices aren't about memorizing a list of rules. It is about training your own desires so that you crave the rewards of Lady Wisdom over the cheap thrill of Lady Folly. Making that choice initiates a lifelong process. Walking with Lady Wisdom happens in the dirt and grit of daily, highly practical actions. This is where the actual Proverbs come in. They are short, memorable sayings, but they aren't rigid promises or absolute laws. They are situational tools.
A wise person knows exactly which tool fits the specific problem in front of them. Take one of the most common tests we face, laziness. Proverbs warns us about the sluggard, a character paralyzed by his own irrational excuses, refusing to step out his front door because he claims there's a lion in the street. To cure the sluggard, the text points down to the dirt. Look at the ant. It has no commander or overseer, yet it labors relentlessly, storing up provisions while the sun shines. Wisdom in action requires that kind of self-reliance. It is the ability to look at our own mundane tasks and know when to put our heads down and apply that relentless, forward-thinking effort. Beyond managing our own time, the student's journey eventually leads out the front door and into the marketplace, where we collide with other people and their money. To illustrate these collisions, the writers use a poetic device called antithetical parallelism. A balancing scale shows how it works. On one side, the text places a gentle answer. On the other, it counters with a harsh word. The structure forces a choice, proving that weighing opposite inputs against each other inevitably yields opposite outcomes. That same comparative logic is applied to economics. The text warns against exploiting others to get rich quickly. It paints a picture of ill-gotten wealth suddenly sprouting wings and flying off like an eagle toward heaven. How we speak to a neighbor or conduct a business transaction might seem small, but these granular, everyday choices are the building blocks of a wise life. All of these daily decisions lead us to the culmination of the journey in Proverbs 31, which answers a final question. What does a fully realized life of wisdom actually look like? The text answers with a closing poem about a figure known as the Eshet Chayil. For centuries, this has been translated as the virtuous woman, creating a common misconception of a quiet, subservient housewife. In the original Hebrew, the word chayil doesn't suggest passive virtue. It is a martial term that denotes military might, vigor, and physical strength, the same word used to describe an army or a mighty warrior. A more accurate translation is the woman of valor. She is a daring, heroic figure who commands the same respect as a victorious warrior returning home with the spoils of battle. She takes an active, sovereign role in the world. She evaluates and buys real estate, plants vineyards with her own earnings, and runs an international textile business. She isn't just an impressive worker, she is the mirror image of Lady Wisdom. Just as the cosmic figure of the opening chapters builds her house and prepares a feast, this woman builds her household, rises before dawn to provide food, and speaks with the law of kindness.
She is the moment where the abstract order of the universe becomes a living reality, and her legacy isn't confined to ancient history. This specific calm survives today as a living tradition. Every Friday evening, as families gather to welcome the Sabbath, husbands sing these verses, honoring the matriarch as the valorous protector of the home. Biblical wisdom is never presented as an abstract, heavenly philosophy. It is a direct call to live a daring, intensely practical, and heroic life right here in the everyday world.